Earth was ruled by killers much older, faster, stranger, and sometimes even bigger than T-Rex before it took its first thunderous step. Forget the dinosaurs you learned about in school. These were the world's top predators, long before the tyrant king existed. They included saber-toothed snakes that hunted like wolves, crocodile-lined monsters that sprinted on two legs, theropods that lived in the Arctic with Elvis-like crests, and giants like Giganotosaurus and Mapusaurus that could take down prey the size of buildings. This is the story of the top predators that lived before T-Rex, the animals that created the first rules for fear. Gorgonops, the saber-toothed reptile of the Permian. At least 250 million years before T-Rex, the most dangerous animal on land wasn't a dinosaur, a crocodile, or even a lizard in the modern sense. Gorgonops was a saber-toothed prehistoric animal that could kill with the speed of a wolf and the strength of a big cat. It lived in a world with few trees, dry land, and animals that moved slowly. Gorgonops was different. It was quick, alert, warm-blooded, and designed to hunt all the time. Gorgonops belonged to a group called Gorgonopsians, early relatives of mammals. Adults range from medium sizes to giants, but the typical Gorgonops was about the size of a large dog. What made it terrifying were the long canines, saber teeth, that curved downward from the upper jaw. These weren't clumsy or oversized like some ancient predators. They were narrow, sharp, and shaped to pierce deep into flesh. A single, well-placed bite could end a fight in seconds. Its skull shows how the entire head was built around those fangs. The bone around the eyes was strong and thick, protecting the skull during struggles with large prey. The muscles that closed the jaw were massive, anchored to large openings behind the eye socket. When Gorgonops bit down, it wasn't just puncturing, it was driving those teeth like twin daggers powered by strong neck muscles and a reinforced skull. The rest of the teeth were different. Behind the sabers were small cutting teeth, not meant to grind, but to slice meat into strips. This tells us Gorgonops was not a scavenger or bone crusher, like later predators. It needed fresh kills, soft tissue, and a fast strike that let it feed quickly before other animals approached. New research on Gorgonopsian posture has changed how we picture this predator. Earlier art showed them sprawling like lizards, but limb studies suggest their legs were partly tucked under the body. Not fully upright like a mammal, but not splayed like a reptile either. This middle posture gave it longer strides and better stamina. It could trot, sprint, and turn quickly, huge advantages in a world full of slow herbivores. Recent CT scans of Gorgonopsian skulls even show signs of a more advanced brain. The brain case shape hints at quicker reactions, better balance, and sharper senses than early reptiles. The structure of the inner ear suggests it could track movement with precision. Some paleontologists argue that Gorgonopsians may have been closer to warm-blooded than cold-blooded, able to stay active even in cooler temperatures. Gorgonops hunted in an age full of strange prey. Large plant eaters like Scootosaurus carried armor plates. Others, like Moschops, had heavy skulls and bulky bodies. Smaller Dicynodonts lived in burrows and could be difficult to catch. To survive, Gorgonops didn't rely on brute strength. It relied on technique. Its likely hunting style resembled that of a modern big cat. First, stalk from a distance, staying downwind. Then rush in with a fast burst of speed. In the final moment, leap or lunge at the neck or throat, where the saber teeth could strike vulnerable tissue. A precise bite was everything. Without it, the sabers could break on bone. With it, the predator could drop an animal much larger than itself. A lot of Gorgonops fossils show wounds that have healed, mostly around the face and mouth. Two important things are true. The prey fought back, and Gorgonops lived long enough to heal. There are bite marks on some skulls from other Gorgonopsians, which means they may have fought over territory or mates. During these fights, they might have shoved, slashed, or made scary faces with their long fangs showing. Its world was harsh. The end of the Permian was approaching, with climates shifting, droughts worsening, and volcanic gases altering ecosystems. Early forests were dying, and rivers dried unpredictably. Yet Gorgonops thrived for millions of years as the top predator in southern Pangaea. Dimetrodon, the sail-backed king of the swamps. Dimetrodon was the top hunter in the early Permian, a long time before the first dinosaurs walked the earth. This animal is so well known that people often mistake it for a dinosaur, even though it lived almost 300 million years ago. The Dimetrodon wasn't a snake or any other type of animal. The animal was a cenopside, which is a type of animal that is related to mammals. But while it was king, it was the most dangerous killer on land. Dimetrodon's most famous feature was its sail, a tall ridge of elongated spines rising from its back. These spines were covered in skin and blood vessels, forming a thin, delicate structure that looked intimidating but wasn't for fighting. Instead, the sail acted as a biological radiator. In cool early mornings, Dimetrodon could absorb heat quickly by turning its sail toward the sun. As temperatures rose, it could angle the sail away to avoid overheating. This temperature control gave it an edge over other animals that warmed up slowly, allowing it to hunt earlier and longer. But the sail was only half the story. The skull of Dimetrodon shows why it dominated wetlands and riverbanks. Its head was long, deep, and packed with sharp, blade-like teeth that were serrated along the edges. These serrations are some of the earliest examples of true cutting teeth in a land predator. With each bite, Dimetrodon could slice flesh like a steak knife, making it one of the first efficient meat specialists in Earth's history. There were different types of teeth in Dimetrodon. The front teeth were incisors, the back teeth were cutting teeth, and the front teeth were big canines. This type is a sign of advanced feeding tactics, and it looks more like a reptile than an animal. It let the hunter grip, tear, and shear all at once, which is something that earlier canines couldn't do well. Dimetrodon lived in a world of changing climates and scattered waterways. Many fossils come from Texas and Oklahoma, where ancient river systems created a patchwork of swamps, mudflats, and floodplains. These environments hosted lungfish, amphibians, armored fish, and small reptiles. Dimetrodon hunted them all. Studies of bite marks on fossils show its jaws were strong enough to crush bone, especially the thick skull plates of early amphibians. One unexpected discovery is that young Dimetrodons probably didn't hunt the same animals as adults. Smaller people had different shaped teeth, which suggests they first ate bugs, small lizards, or young frogs before moving on to bigger animals. This diet shift is common in advanced hunters and makes the species less competitive. This also means that Dimetrodon played many biological roles at the same time, from being a small attacker to the top hunter. Dimetrodon's limbs tell us more about how it lived. They were sturdy and sprawled outward, giving it a low stance, but the joints show enough flexibility for it to lift its belly slightly while walking. This made it more mobile than a true belly-dragging reptile. Its tail, long, muscular, and heavy, would have helped with balance during sudden lunges. Recent analyses of growth rings in its bones hint that Dimetrodon may have had a fast-growing metabolism, closer to warm-blooded animals than cold-blooded ones. Faster growth requires more food and more active hunting, which fits its role as a top predator. This also strengthens the idea that synapsids were evolving increased metabolic rates long before true mammals appeared. Death assemblages are fossils of dozens of individuals that were found together. They are one of the most unusual things ever found about Dimetrodon. These places used to be ponds that dried up during droughts. Frogs and fish crowded into the last few dirty holes as the water dried up. It's likely that Dimetrodons came to eat animals that were caught, and some of them got trapped themselves. Ancient environments were changed by drought, and these remains show how Dimetrodon took advantage of prey that was having a hard time. Anteosaurus, the skull-crushing beast. Anteosaurus wasn't graceful, it wasn't quick, and it wasn't sneaky. It was a 5-meter block of muscle, bone, and raw power. It was an early Permian hunter whose head weighed more than some of its prey. Anteosaurus was the hammer, and Dimetrodon was the blade. It lived in what is now South Africa, about 260 million years ago. It scared people in river valleys and floodplains long before the dinosaurs did, and in its world, nothing was stronger than it. Anteosaurus belonged to the Dinocephalians, a group whose name literally means terrible heads, and it earned that title. The skull could reach nearly a meter long, with the roof thickened into solid bone like a natural helmet. This extra reinforcement wasn't for show. Early studies suggested simple defense, but newer high-resolution scans show something even more interesting. The thickened skull and jaw joints were built to withstand heavy impacts, meaning Anteosaurus likely used its head as a weapon. Whether in fights with rivals or in surprise attacks on prey, this predator relied on bone-crushing force more than speed. The teeth matched the skull's brutality. At the front were large incisors for gripping. Behind them, enormous canines curved downward, capable of punching deep into hide and muscle. Even farther back, short, strong teeth formed a roar, designed to crush bone and tear through thick limbs. Unlike the slicing teeth of later predators, Anteosaurus's jaws were shaped for smashing. When it bit down, the combined pressure of its jaw muscles and reinforced skull could break through armor-like skin and tough bones of early herbivores. For many years, scientists pictured Anteosaurus as a sluggish ambush hunter because of its heavy build. But recent anatomical studies challenge this assumption. By reconstructing the inner ear canals, the systems that help with balance, researchers discovered that Anteosaurus had sensory abilities suited for faster movement than expected. Its balance organs were more advanced than those of many other early predators, suggesting it could track prey and control head movement during quick lunges. It wasn't a sprinter, but it likely moved with surprising power and agility for an animal built like a living battering ram. The ecosystem it lived in was full of large herbivores, many nearly as strange as the predators. Massive plant eaters like moschops and Tapinocephalus wandered in groups, feeding on thick vegetation along riverbanks. Some had heavy skulls of their own, designed for head-butting. Others had bulky armor or great size as their defense. Anteosaurus hunted these giants by targeting weakness, isolating injured individuals, or ambushing at water sources. A crushing bite to the neck or side could bring down a herbivore weighing several hundred kilos. Its limbs reveal even more about how it lived. The bones were thick, with large muscle attachments, suggesting powerful shoulders and hips. The feet were broad and strong, supporting its massive weight without sinking too deeply into soft floodplain mud. This build suited a hunter that walked steadily across varied terrain, river edges, marshes, and dry open ground, looking for the right moment to attack. It wasn't chasing prey across long distances, it was overpowering them at close range. Scientists have found signs of steady growth inside the bones, not slow growth like a lizard. This points to a body that is working harder. This, along with the fact that it had changed senses, suggests that the attacker wasn't just big, it was also aware, had a warm body, and could be very active at times. Anteosaurus was very dangerous because it was strong and had a body that was ready to fight. Life for Anteosaurus wasn't without risk. Some fossils show healed fractures in ribs and jaws, evidence that these animals often survived violent encounters. These injuries could have come from struggling prey, fights with competing predators, or clashes during mating season. A healed skull fracture on one specimen shows the incredible durability of its reinforced head. A blow strong enough to crack bone did not kill the animal. It lived long enough for the injury to repair. Postosuchus, the crocodile that walked like a raptor. When you think of a crocodile, You probably picture a long, skinny animal that slides through water or crawls through mud. Postosuchus breaks that picture in every way. This animal lived in the late Triassic, more than 80 million years before T-Rex. It had long, strong hind legs, held its body high off the ground, and tracked like a hawk. Even though it wasn't a dinosaur, it moved like one. And in its world, no one else was stronger, taller, or faster than it. Postosuchus was a Rauisuchian, an ancient cousin of crocodiles, but its design was dramatically different from modern crocs. Adults reached around 4 to 5 meters in length, with deep jaws full of serrated teeth and a skull nearly a meter long. But its most striking feature was the way it stood. Instead of sprawling, its legs were positioned directly under the body, a fully upright stance that let it run with long, efficient strides. This is one of the earliest examples of a crocodilian relative evolving a fully erect gait, something dinosaurs would later refine. Its pelvis and hip joints reveal just how advanced this posture was. The hip socket opened downward rather than sideways, allowing the femur to swing forward and back like a pendulum. Strong muscle attachments on the hips and tail show that Postosuchus generated powerful forward thrust with each step. While it probably couldn't sprint like a cheetah, it was fast enough to close the distance on large prey and had the stamina for short, explosive attacks. Postosuchus didn't need long chases. Its bite was more than enough. The skull was heavily reinforced, with deep-set jaw muscles anchored to large openings behind the eye. The teeth were curved, sharp and serrated like steak knives, perfect for tearing into thick flesh. Some fossils of prey animals show deep bite marks that match the shape of Postosuchus's teeth, confirming it tackled large herbivores head-on and ripped through muscle and bone with ease. Unlike many other Triassic predators, Postosuchus had a semi-flexible spine, especially in the neck. This meant it could lift and lower its head quickly, giving it a strong downward strike and excellent control during a killing bite. Its forelimbs were smaller than its hind legs, but still strong, likely used for holding prey down or stabilizing its body while tearing chunks of meat free. Some researchers believe Postosuchus could drop to all fours when needed, but most of the time it probably preferred to stand tall on 2 powerful legs. There were a lot of other dinosaurs in the Triassic world, so Postosuchus had to fight to stay at the top. Even though they were getting bigger, the first dinosaurs were still very small and weak. Animals that ate plants, like atosaurs, which were big armored reptiles, roamed the land. Postosuchus probably preyed on the young or weaker animals in these groups. Smaller hungry reptiles and quick early dinosaurs scavenged for food or ran away when Postosuchus showed up. It changed the environment just by being there, causing other species to change or stay out of its way. Evidence from bone microstructure suggests Postosuchus grew quickly when young, reaching large size fast, a common trait in apex predators. Growth slowed once adulthood was reached, but the strong internal bone structure and thick joints show it was built for a life of physical stress. Many Postosuchus fossils show healed injuries, including broken ribs and damaged limb bones, meaning these animals survived violent conflicts, whether from struggling prey or fights with their own kind. Recent studies of trackways found in Triassic sediments support the idea that some Rauisuchians, including Postosuchus or close relatives, could walk and run with a straight, narrow gait. This track style is nearly identical to early theropod dinosaurs, showing how close their body plans converged, even though they came from different evolutionary branches. Nature had discovered upright, fast-moving hunters, but it wasn't dinosaurs who invented it first. It was predators like Postosuchus, Smilosuchus, the river ambusher of the Triassic. In the late Triassic, early dinosaurs were still small, and the world around them was changing quickly. One animal ruled the rivers, and its teeth were made to kill anything that got in their way. What Smilosuchus really wasn't what it looked like at first. It was a phytosaur, a late-stage killer that often got even bigger than real crocodiles as it grew. Smilosuchus was the threat that was barely noticeable. It had over a meter-long jaws and lips that were pushed up between its eyes. Its skin was tough and shiny in the sun. Smilosuchus could reach lengths of more than 20 feet, rivaling modern saltwater crocodiles. But what set it apart wasn't just its size, it was the weaponry built into its skull. The snout was long and narrow, lined with dozens of sharp, conical teeth, perfect for gripping slippery prey. The front of the jaw sometimes curved slightly upward, giving the animal a slight smile, which is how it earned its name. But this smile hid a brutal bite. The teeth could clamp down with tremendous force, enough to snap bones and crush the limbs of dinosaurs that wandered too close to riverbanks. The nostrils were one of the most recognizable things about Smilosuchus and all phytosaurs. The nostrils of crocodiles are at the end of the head, but the nostrils of phytosaurs were close to the eyes. Because of this strange change, Smilosuchus could keep most of its head underwater while still breathing. This made it a sneaky predator that was hard to see. Its eyes, which were also close to the top of its head, let it see a lot of the water surface. Smilosuchus lived in complex environments full of rivers, lakes, and seasonal floodplains. During wet seasons, water spread across large areas, attracting herds of early dinosaurs, amphibians, and reptiles. These animals became easy targets. Fossil evidence shows that phytosaurs frequently preyed on large animals, not just fish. Some dinosaur fossils even show bite marks matching phytosaur jaws, including deep punctures spaced perfectly like Smilosuchus's teeth. But Smilosuchus wasn't just a simple ambush hunter. Its body structure reveals surprising versatility. The limbs, though not long, were strong and could support the animal's weight on land. Trackway evidence from phytosaur relatives suggests that they could move with a semi-upright posture, lifting their bellies slightly off the ground. This means Smilosuchus may have been more mobile than modern crocs, capable of quick bursts of speed on land when needed. Inside the jaws, the skull had a strong secondary palate, a bone structure that allowed Smilosuchus to breathe while holding prey underwater. This meant it could drown struggling animals without losing its grip or lifting its head. Modern crocodiles use the same strategy, but phytosaurs evolved it independently tens of millions of years earlier. It's one of the most striking examples of convergent evolution in the fossil record. Smilosuchus didn't rule alone. In its habitats lived large herbivores like Placoreus, a tusked dicynodont weighing nearly a ton. But even these massive animals were vulnerable at the water's edge. Smilosuchus could launch from the shallows with terrifying speed. A sudden rush, a snap of jaws, and the struggle was over. Then came the rolling. Many paleontologists believe phytosaurs may have used a form of death roll, twisting their bodies to tear off chunks of flesh. The structure of their neck vertebrae supports the idea of powerful rotational movements. Young Smilosuchus had different challenges. Juveniles had shorter snouts and different tooth shapes, suggesting they relied more on insects and small vertebrates until they grew large enough to compete with adults. This separation of diets reduced competition and allowed populations to flourish in rich wetland environments. Erythrosuchus, the red crocodile of doom. In the early Triassic, long before dinosaurs became famous, there was a predator that ruled the world as it was healing. Its head was so big that it didn't fit on its body. The head of this animal, Erythrosuchus, took up almost a quarter of its body length and was about 16 feet long. At that time, nothing else living looked quite like it. Erythrosuchus was the first truly huge land predator to take control of the food chain. This happened in a setting that was still recovering from the biggest mass extinction in Earth's history. Erythrosuchus lived in what is now South Africa, in a world that had changed dramatically after the Permian extinction. Forests were thin, climates were unstable, and the land was dominated by open floodplains and patchy vegetation. Most animals of the early Triassic were either small survivors or newly evolving species trying to adapt. But Erythrosuchus bucked that trend. It became large, powerful, and perfectly suited to being the new ruler of the recovering ecosystems. The skull of Erythrosuchus is its most striking feature. Long, deep, and armed with huge serrated teeth, the head looks oversized, almost cartoonishly big. But this size wasn't a mistake. The deep skull allowed for massive jaw muscles, providing a bite force strong enough to crush bone and tear through thick hide. The teeth were laterally compressed, flattened like knives rather than round like spikes, giving each bite a slicing action similar to that of later theropod dinosaurs. Yet the skull wasn't just big, it also had a unique shape, a steep, almost triangular profile that sloped sharply upward from the snout. This shape helped anchor the jaw muscles and reinforce the skull against twisting forces during a struggle. It allowed Erythrosuchus to grip large prey and shake violently without breaking its own bones. Its body, by contrast, was surprisingly compact. Erythrosuchus did not have a long tail or a slender build like future predators. Instead, it carried its bulk low to the ground, supported by stout limbs that angled partly under the body. This semi-upright posture was a major evolutionary step forward. Unlike sprawling reptiles, Erythrosuchus could lift its body high and walk efficiently on land, taking long, stable strides. This made it a strong, steady hunter rather than a slow crawler. Recent studies on its ankle and hip joints show that Erythrosuchus had a more advanced gait than earlier Permian predators. It wasn't built for fast chases like a cheetah, but it didn't need to be. The early Triassic herbivores, animals like Liliensternus and other bulky plant eaters, weren't fast either. What mattered was power, precision, and the ability to overpower prey in one crushing attack. All strengths Erythrosuchus possessed. It probably lived a life of both surprise and short-distance chase. Erythrosuchus could hide behind bushes near rivers and wait for plant eaters to come closer to the water. When a target got close enough, it could spring forward very quickly for its size, using its jaws as its main weapon. If they bite you in the neck or chest, you could die. The deep head also gave it a strong grip, which helped it hold on to its food while it fought. The fossil record of Erythrosuchus also shows thick ribs and strong vertebrae, hinting at a body capable of handling the violent motions of capturing large prey. The limbs were well muscled, especially the shoulders and thighs. These features were necessary for controlling prey once it had been bitten. Erythrosuchus needed strength to brace itself and drag animals to the ground. There is proof in its bones that it grew pretty quickly, like other early archosaur cousins. This fast growth means that the metabolism is working hard, which could mean that it is getting closer to being warm-blooded than many snakes living today. This metabolic boost would have helped its strong muscles work and helped it survive the big changes in the world in the early Triassic. Prestosuchus, the dawn ruler of the dinosaurs. The Triassic world already had a leader before the dinosaurs came along. It wasn't a dinosaur at all. It was Prestosuchus, a huge predator with a deep head that walked straight up like a future theropod, but was related to crocodiles. Prestosuchus lived in what is now Brazil about 240 million years ago. He shows that the throne dinosaurs received was already made by strong, fierce hunters, long before they showed up. Prestosuchus grew up to 20 feet long, with a muscular body, a tall skull, and strong legs that held its weight high above the ground. Its most important feature was its posture. Unlike reptiles that sprawled sideways, Prestosuchus stood tall, with its legs partly under the body. This stance made it a far more efficient walker than earlier predators. It could cover long distances without tiring, track prey across river valleys, and burst into short chases when needed. This is one of the clearest examples of how advanced archosaurs, crocodile ancestors, were evolving the same kinds of athletic body plans that dinosaurs would later perfect. Prestosuchus's head was a very useful thing. It was made for slicing because it is deep, strong, and lined with long, sharpened teeth. Each tooth was flattened on the sides, which made it work like a knife when it was pulled through the skin. Prestosuchus's lips shut with a lot of force, and its strong neck muscles helped it land bites that broke bones. Its eyes were high on its head and slightly turned forward, which gave it good depth awareness, which was useful for figuring out how far away an enemy was when it attacked. Inside the skull, fossil studies show a large attachment area for jaw muscles, which suggests Prestosuchus had one of the strongest bites of its time. The shape of the snout and jaw hinge tells us it didn't just clamp and hold like a crocodile. It bit, sliced, and pulled back, sawing into thick hide and muscle. This made it a threat to nearly every herbivore in its environment, including early sauropodomorphs, armored reptiles, and large dicynodonts. Prestosuchus lived in floodplains crossed by rivers that change with the seasons. During wet months, the land was rich with vegetation and herbivores. During dry months, water sources shrank, concentrating prey into smaller areas. Prestosuchus patrolled these shrinking wetlands, ambushing animals that came to drink. Footprint evidence from other Rauisuchians suggests these predators could move silently along muddy banks and launch explosive attacks with jaws already open. The joint in Prestosuchus's ankle is one of the most interesting things about it. It had a special pillar-erect ankle structure that let it walk steadily and straight up. This joint is a sign of an advanced archosaur. The ankles of early dinosaurs were built differently, but just as well, which means that Prestosuchus and dinosaurs were distant cousins who developed strong legs at the same time, but separately. This makes Prestosuchus a great example of convergent evolution, which is when animals that are not linked come up with similar answers because they are facing the same problems. Skeletons of Prestosuchus show thick limb bones with strong muscle attachments, particularly around the hips and shoulders. These clues point to an agile, strong predator that could pivot, lunge, and brace itself during violent struggles with prey. Its long tail helped with balance, countering the heavy front end. Although it may have walked on all fours most of the time, some scientists believe Prestosuchus could briefly rear back or partially use its hind limbs during attacks, giving it a towering presence over its victims. Fossils also reveal stress marks and healed injuries, signs of a violent life. Some individuals had cracked ribs or damaged limb bones that later healed. These injuries could have come from struggling prey or fights with other Prestosuchus. Territorial combat was likely intense. Large predators rarely tolerate competition, and the deep skull and strong jaws were as useful against rivals as they were against prey. Rauisuchus, the killer with the croc's smile. Before the dinosaurs took over the food chain, there was a group of hunters that ruled the Triassic. They had long legs, sharp teeth, and a stance that made them look like early designs for theropods. Rauisuchus was one of the most feared of them all. This huge Rauisuchian lived in what is now Germany about 230 million years ago. It was the kind of animal that changed landscapes just by existing. While Rauisuchus's ancestors were crocodiles, its form was more like a dinosaur's. It was very fast, strong, and accurate, and lived long before the time of rulers. From nose to tail, Rauisuchus stretched roughly 20 feet long. Its skull, deep and robust, was filled with blade-like serrated teeth designed to slice rather than crush. These teeth show clear signs of being used in a cut-and-pull feeding style, bite into flesh, then yank backward to carve out chunks. Unlike crocodiles that use a death roll, Rauisuchus relied on sharp edges and strong jaws to dismantle prey. Each tooth had small serrations perfect for slicing meat, the way theropod dinosaurs would later do. The posture of Rauisuchus was one of the things that made it peculiar. It stood straight up, with its legs directly under its body and not spread out to the sides. This let people walk quickly and with long, strong steps on land. Its hip and ankle bones show that it walked straight up and down. This is the same type of leg structure that made dinosaurs so successful in the later stages of their evolution. Rauisuchus didn't walk like a crocodile, it walked like a hunter that was ready to chase. Its long hind limbs and strong thigh muscles suggest it could accelerate quickly. It wasn't a fast sprinter for long distances, but it was built for explosive attacks. When a herd of early dinosaurs or herbivorous reptiles passed nearby, Rauisuchus could burst from cover with surprising speed, close the gap, and deliver a lethal bite. Its forelimbs were smaller, but still muscular, probably used to brace its body while feeding or to help pin down prey. The skull itself holds clues to how this predator sensed the world. The eye sockets are large and positioned to give Rauisuchus good depth perception, important for a hunter judging the distance to its target. The nasal passages were spacious, suggesting a sharp sense of smell. Combined, these traits gave it the sensory advantages of a top predator, the ability to track, detect, and strike with precision. Rauisuchus lived in a world full of rising competitors. Early dinosaurs such as Prestosuchus were starting to grow larger, but they were still mostly plant eaters. Other archosaurs, including armored atosaurs and swift carnivorous relatives, shared its territory. Yet Rauisuchus remained the undisputed apex predator thanks to its size and power. It targeted medium to large herbivores, scavenged when opportunity arose, and likely displaced smaller predators from kills with sheer intimidation. Bone injuries found in Rauisuchian fossils, including stress fractures and healed wounds, tell us that life at the top was violent. Rauisuchus likely faced off against rivals of similar size. These conflicts may have involved powerful lunges, skull-to-skull impacts, and attempts to slash with their serrated teeth. Surviving such battles required thick bones, tough skin, and an aggressive mindset, all traits Rauisuchus possessed. The hard spine of the Rauisuchus is one intriguing component of its body. The vertebrae were held together by bone rods, which made the back stiffer. This probably made the animal more stable during leaps and helped move force from the back legs to the mouth. When Rauisuchus charged, its skeleton worked together like a well-oiled machine. Its legs moved forward, its spine supported the hit, and its jaws shut with huge force. Liliensternus, the first giant theropod. There was an early hunter that was thinner, faster, and showed what dinosaurs were going to become long before Allosaurus and Giganotosaurus stomped across the continents. Liliensternus was a theropod from the late Triassic period that lived in what is now Germany. It was almost 20 feet long and had the light body and sharp features of a hunter that was still in its early stages of evolution. That dinosaur was one of the first ones that was big enough to take over its environment and hunt food that earlier archosaurs had been in charge of. Liliensternus wasn't the end result of development in dinosaurs, it was just the beginning. Liliensternus lived around 210 million years ago in a world still controlled by crocodile-line predators like Rauisuchus. But as those animals began to decline, Liliensternus and other early theropods took their place. This shift is one of the most important transitions in prehistoric history, the rise of dinosaurs as apex hunters. Liliensternus represents that moment perfectly, combining speed, agility, and lightweight construction in a way few predators before it had managed. Its body was built for motion. Long legs, hollow bones, and a stiffened tail all worked together to create a fast-running hunter. The thigh bone shows strong attachment points for the main running muscles, and the foot bones were long and narrow. Traits seen in later high-speed predators. Its tail acted like a balancing rod, keeping its center of gravity stable as it sprinted or made sharp turns. Fossil trackways from similar theropods show narrow, straight-line paths, suggesting they moved with precision rather than the side-to-side sway of earlier reptiles. The skull of Liliensternus was long and narrow, filled with sharp, blade-like teeth. These teeth were laterally compressed, much like those of its Jurassic descendants, giving them a slicing edge suited for cutting into flesh rather than crushing. Its jaws weren't as powerful as those of bigger theropods, but they didn't need to be. Liliensternus hunted with speed and timing. A quick bite to a weak point, neck, flank, or limb was enough to bring down smaller prey or injure larger ones. From the brain case comes one of the most telling parts. Early theropods had well-developed balance organs in their inner ears, according to research on closely related species. This means Liliensternus probably had good balance and could keep her head still while she ran. These changes helped it follow moving food and hit it accurately, even when it was going very fast. Liliensternus lived in floodplain environments with seasonal droughts and rains. Herds of early dinosaurs, including the long-necked Prestosuchus, moved through these landscapes in search of plants. Smaller reptiles, amphibians, and early mammals scurried among the ground cover. Liliensternus likely hunted a mix of these creatures using surprise and speed rather than brute strength. Some paleontologists believe it may have hunted cooperatively with others of its species, not in coordinated packs like wolves, but in loose groups taking advantage of shared opportunities. Bones from multiple Liliensternus individuals found together hint at group living, or at least group feeding. Whether they lived socially or simply gathered at water sources during droughts remains uncertain, but the evidence shows they were not solitary all the time. If they hunted in small groups, they could have targeted larger prey, nipping at flanks and weakening an animal until it collapsed. Competition shaped much of Liliensternus's behaviour. Crocodile line hunters were still present, though shrinking in diversity. Fast, agile predators like Liliensternus filled the gaps left behind. Smaller theropods likely scavenged its killed or hunted smaller prey that Liliensternus ignored. The Triassic was a time of rapid evolutionary experimentation, and Liliensternus found success through speed and efficiency rather than bulk. Cryolophosaurus, the Antarctic hunter. People usually think of jungles, deserts, or warm floodplains when they think of dinosaurs, but Cryolophosaurus is nothing like what people expect. This animal was dangerous and lived around 194 million years ago in the early Jurassic. It ruled a land that was much closer to the South Pole. Even though Antarctica wasn't frozen, it was very cold, dark for months at a time, and full of thick woods. Cryolophosaurus not only lived in this harsh climate, it ruled it. It had long legs, strong jaws, and a head that looked like Elvis. It was one of the weirdest top predators the world had ever seen. Cryolophosaurus reached over 20 feet in length, making it one of the largest theropods of its time. Its body was slim but muscular, built for moving efficiently over long distances. Cold environments require animals to conserve energy, and Cryolophosaurus's lightweight skeleton helped it stay active even during harsh conditions. Its long legs hint that it wasn't a short sprinter like later predators, but more of a steady, persistent hunter, capable of tracking prey through the forest. The most famous feature of Cryolophosaurus is the crest on its head, a tall running across the top of the skull like a sideways comb. Early paleontologists joked that it resembled Elvis Presley's hairstyle, earning the dinosaur the nickname Elvisaurus. But the crest wasn't used for headbutting or fighting. It was too thin and delicate. Instead, researchers believe it served as a display structure. In the dim forests of early Jurassic Antarctica, visual signals mattered. The crest may have helped individuals recognize each other or attract mates. The skull of Cryolophosaurus was long and narrow, filled with sharp, serrated teeth designed for slicing through flesh. Its jaws weren't as massive as later carnivores, but they didn't need to be. Cryolophosaurus hunted with a combination of strategic biting and quick movements. Its neck was strong and flexible, allowing it to strike from different angles. Once it got a grip, the serrations did the work, cutting deep into muscle. The world Cryolophosaurus lived in was a mix of cold forests, broad valleys, and seasonal rivers. During the summer, the region experienced long periods of sunlight. During the winter, darkness lasted for months. This extreme cycle shaped the life of every animal in the ecosystem. Herbivores like the early sauropodomorph Glacialosaurus had to feed on hardy plants and survive long stretches of low light. These slow-moving plant eaters likely became the main prey for Cryolophosaurus. One fossil site suggests Cryolophosaurus may have visited natural traps, places where herbivores became stuck or weakened. Some paleontologists think it scavenged as often as it hunted, especially during winter when food was scarce. The sharp teeth were perfect for stripping meat from carcasses, and its strong forelimbs could tear open tough hides. Being flexible in its diet would have helped it survive the extreme seasonal changes. Studies of bone structure show that Cryolophosaurus grew at a moderate rate compared to later theropods. This fits the pattern of predators living in cooler climates. Steady growth helps them conserve energy. Evidence from the inner ear and brain case also suggests that Cryolophosaurus had good balance and coordination, which was important for hunting in dense forests and uneven terrain. Multiple dinosaur bones were found together in bone beds, which led to one of the most fascinating discoveries ever. Some experts say this could mean that Cryolophosaurus met and ate other animals of the same kind. The bones don't prove that the species lived in groups, but they suggest that they may not have lived alone all the time. They might have met at places to eat, on travel paths, or in safe places during harsh winters. Cryolophosaurus lived during a time when the world was changing fast. Volcanic activity, shifting climates, and evolving plants created unstable ecosystems. Eventually, newer predators and warmer adapted species expanded into Antarctica, replacing older lineages. Cryolophosaurus disappeared, but it left behind a record of one of the most extreme adaptations in dinosaur history. This predator proves that dinosaurs weren't just creatures of heat, they were survivors capable of ruling even near-polar regions. With its striking crest, slicing teeth, and ability to endure months of darkness, Cryolophosaurus stands out as one of the most unique apex hunters before the age of giant Jurassic carnivores fully began. Long before T-Rex, a cold-weather king reigned over the frozen forests of ancient Antarctica. Ceratosaurus, the horned slayer of the Jurassic. It lived in the late Jurassic period about 150 million years ago. During this time, big hunters like Allosaurus and Torvosaurus ruled the world. But Ceratosaurus made a dangerous niche for itself, even though it was smaller than these other dinosaurs. With its sharp teeth, long tail that looks like a crocodile's, strong claws, and unique horn on its nose, Ceratosaurus was one of the best and most adaptable animals of its time. It didn't win because of its size. It won because of how well it could adjust. The most recognizable feature of Ceratosaurus is the horn above its nose. For years, scientists debated its function. Early theories suggested it was used like a weapon, but the bone structure is too thin to withstand heavy impacts. Today, the leading idea is that the horn served as a display feature. In a crowded Jurassic ecosystem, where many predators look similar, a bright, noticeable crest or horn would help individuals identify each other and attract mates. In dense forests or near riverbanks, a flash of color on the snout could have been an important visual signal. Ceratosaurus had a long, narrow skull lined with some of the most impressive teeth of any predator of its time. These teeth were unusually long and curved, almost saber-like, designed for deep punctures and slashing wounds. Compared to Allosaurus, whose shorter teeth excelled at biting into large prey with repeated strikes, Ceratosaurus could deliver deep, damaging bites with fewer attempts. Its bite style was closer to modern big cats, latch on, slice deep, and tear away flesh. Its body was built differently from other Jurassic theropods. Ceratosaurus had a more flexible tail made of tall, blade-like vertebrae, similar to those found in crocodiles. These tall spines gave the tail a strong sideways motion. This unusual feature suggests Ceratosaurus was a strong swimmer, far more capable in lakesides and wetlands may have been prime hunting grounds. Fossils found near ancient waterways support this idea. While larger predators hunted in open plains, Ceratosaurus thrived in flooded forests, along rivers, and across swampy terrain. Its arms were small, but not useless. Sharp, curved claws allowed Ceratosaurus to grab smaller prey or hold on to struggling animals. Its legs were powerful, and its feet were narrow and built for speed. Tracks from similar theropods show patterns of quick bursts, suggesting Ceratosaurus ambushed prey with sudden acceleration rather than long chases. The food that Ceratosaurus ate is one of the most noteworthy things that scientists have learned about. It ate a lot of different animals, including fish, small dinosaurs, and even huge sauropods when it had the chance. This wide range of foods helps explain how it survived in places where bigger predators live. Allosaurus hunted in groups, and Torvosaurus went after big animals. Ceratosaurus, on the other hand, hunted smaller, faster animals and used food sources that other dinosaurs didn't bother with. Bones from different individuals show growth rings similar to those of modern reptiles and birds. These rings reveal that Ceratosaurus grew steadily each year, not too fast or too slow, a balanced growth strategy that matched its ecological niche. It didn't need to reach giant size, it needed to remain agile and flexible in its habitat. Ceratosaurus fossils have been found in areas that were once warm, humid floodplains. These landscapes were full of vegetation, streams, and mudflats, perfect for a predator comfortable in and out of water. Competition with larger predators never wiped Ceratosaurus out because it didn't try to compete directly. Instead, it hunted where they didn't. Fed on prey they overlooked and used habitats they avoided. This specialization is one reason Ceratosaurus survived for millions of years, despite being surrounded by much larger carnivores. Torvosaurus, Europe's Jurassic butcher. If there was a killer in the late Jurassic, it was Torvosaurus. This animal lived around 153 million years ago and roamed what is now Portugal and parts of North America. It was one of the biggest land predators of its time, growing up to 35 feet long and as heavy as a small truck. Other relatives of the Torvosaurus were more graceful and quick than this one. It was a raw, mechanical killer designed to be very powerful, have sharp teeth, and fight brutally up close. The Torvosaurus stood out as the meat eater of the Jurassic, a time when there were many big animals and other big predators. The skull of Torvosaurus was long, narrow, and filled with enormous serrated teeth. These teeth were thicker and stronger than those of Allosaurus, giving Torvosaurus the ability to crush and tear through dense muscle and bone. Each tooth acted like a jagged steak knife, with deep serrations ideal for ripping apart prey. Bite marks matching Torvosaurus' teeth have been found on bones of large sauropods, showing that it fed on some of the biggest animals alive. Whether it hunted them actively or scavenged the remains, its jaws were more than capable of handling massive prey. Unlike Allosaurus, which used quick repeated strikes, Torvosaurus relied on slower, heavier attacks. Its skull design and jaw muscles suggest a bite focused on brute force rather than rapid motion. A single bite from Torvosaurus could take out huge chunks of flesh. This feeding style resembles that of later giant carnivores like Giganotosaurus and Tyrannosaurus, making Torvosaurus an early pioneer of the power bite strategy. Its forelimbs were another weapon. Torvosaurus had long, muscular arms tipped with large claws. These claws were thick and curved, perfect for holding prey or delivering slashing blows. In many theropods, the arms were becoming reduced, but in Torvosaurus they remained strong and functional. These arms helped give it an advantage in close combat, especially when grappling with struggling herbivores or pulling apart carcasses. Torvosaurus lived in environments full of giant dinosaurs. Stegosaurus roamed the forests, herds of Camarasaurus and Apatosaurus thundered across floodplains, and larger carnivores like Allosaurus competed for territory and food. But Torvosaurus's body tells us it filled a slightly different niche. It was heavier, slower, and more robust than Allosaurus. It likely preferred ambushes or short, powerful charges rather than long chases. Its long skull allowed it to reach deep into carcasses that other predators struggled to access, and its strong arms helped it defend kills or tear open thick hides. Portugal is where one of the most important Torvosaurus finds existed. A nearly full mouth showed teeth that were longer than those of almost any other Jurassic theropod. This fossil proved that Torvosaurus in Europe got very big. maybe even bigger than its relatives in the United States. In Europe, this makes it one of the strongest candidates for the title of biggest Jurassic predator, beating out other large animals in the area. Torvosaurus eggs discovered in Portugal provide rare insights into its reproduction. These eggs belong to the smallest theropod clutch ever found and show signs of embryos inside. This discovery suggests Torvosaurus may have guarded nests or returned to the same areas to lay eggs, similar to many later theropods. Understanding its nesting behavior gives scientists vital clues about how giant predators raised their young long before the Cretaceous. Yangchuanosaurus, the dragon hunter of China. Long before tyrannosaurs lived in the late Jurassic in what is now China, a strong hunter roamed the wet floodplains and fern-covered slopes. This was Yangchuanosaurus, one of the first big carnivores in Asia. It was such a good hunter that its descendants shaped the future of predatory dinosaurs all over the continent. Yangchuanosaurus was called the dragon hunter, for a good reason. It had a deep head, huge jaws, and a long, strong body. It was the best hunter in a world full of huge game. Yangchuanosaurus reached lengths of up to 33 feet, putting it on par with the biggest Jurassic theropods outside North America and Europe. Its skull was broad and heavy, lined with sharp serrated teeth that curved backward to hook into flesh. Unlike the narrow-headed Allosaurus, Yangchuanosaurus had a deeper face, more like a prototype for later carnivores such as Sinraptor and even some early tyrannosauroids. This skull shape allowed for stronger jaw muscles and a more forceful bite, helping it tackle the large herbivores that dominated Jurassic China. Its jaws were perfect for slicing and tearing. Serrations along the teeth worked like miniature saws, cutting through muscle, hide, and bone. Scientists studying the teeth found patterns of microscopic wear that match a predator regularly pulling back while biting, similar to the tearing method used by later giant theropods. This means Yangchuanosaurus didn't rely on repeated quick bites. Instead, it used fewer, deeper attacks that inflicted devastating damage. Yangchuanosaurus lived in the Sichuan Basin, a landscape shaped by rivers, lakes, and seasonal floods. These wetlands supported huge plant eaters like Mapusaurus, famous for its extremely long neck, Omesaurus, a more medium-sized sauropod, and armored stegosaurs like Tuojiangosaurus. With so much giant prey around, Yangchuanosaurus had no shortage of targets. Fossil beds contain bones with bite marks that match its teeth, including deep gouges on sauropod ribs and vertebrae. Some scientists believe Yangchuanosaurus hunted young sauropods directly, while others suggest it ambushed weakened or isolated adults. Its limbs reveal a balance of power and speed. The hind legs were long and muscular, built for quick bursts and steady pursuit across mud and dense vegetation. The forelimbs were strong as well, ending in large claws capable of gripping prey or helping the predator pull itself upward as it fed. Although not as long-armed as some North American counterparts, Yangchuanosaurus's arms were still functional weapons, useful in close-quarters attacks. The tail was long and stiffened by bony rods, providing balance during running and rapid turns. This feature helped Yangchuanosaurus chase prey through more complex terrain than the open plains seen in other parts of the world. Navigating forests, wetlands, and riverbanks required precision, and this predator had the stability to move through its environment without losing control. Multiple individuals of Yangchuanosaurus were found in the same rock layers at the same time, which is an interesting find. Even though it's not proof that these animals lived in packs, it suggests that they may have shared areas or gone to the same food grounds. Some paleontologists think they may have hunted in loose groups, not fully organized like wolves, but taking advantage of chances when big game fell or when storms pushed herds together. There are also signs that Yangchuanosaurus grew in a way that is similar to how other large theropods did. Its bones show that it grew quickly when it was young, but then slowly and steadily as it got bigger. This plan for growth helped it get big enough quickly to be able to fight off other enemies and stay safe from them. Younger individuals probably went after smaller animals, moving up to bigger ones as they got stronger. Competition existed, of course. Smaller carnivores like Gasosaurus and Yangchuanosaurus roamed the region, but none matched Yangchuanosaurus in size or strength. Allosaurus, the Jurassic apex. Allosaurus controlled North America like a lion rules the savanna in the late Jurassic, a long time before tyrannosaurs emerged. Giants like Torvosaurus were bigger and stronger than Allosaurus, but it was still the most successful hunter of its time. It was the best hunter in a world full of huge animals because it was quick, coordinated, had sharp teeth, and was built for strategy rather than pure strength. Allosaurus was the kind of top hunter that stood out in the Jurassic. Allosaurus reached about 28 feet in length, though some individuals grew larger. Its skull was lighter than that of Torvosaurus, but this wasn't a weakness. It was a design for speed. The skull had large openings that reduced weight but allowed space for thick jaw muscles. This created a biting strategy unique among large carnivores. Instead of relying on raw force like T-Rex would later do, Allosaurus used a hatchet bite. It slammed its upper jaw downward like an axe, using its strong neck muscles to deliver slicing blows that tore flesh rather than simply crunching bone. Its teeth were perfect for this method. Long, laterally compressed and serrated, they sliced easily through muscle. Microscopic wear patterns show consistent back-and-forth cutting motions, meaning Allosaurus actively used its jaw like a saw. This style of feeding allowed it to inflict serious damage quickly, even on massive prey. The body of Allosaurus was built for agility. Its legs were long and muscular, giving it the speed needed to chase or flank prey. Hollow bones reduced weight without sacrificing strength. The tail, stiffened by interlocking bones, acted as a counterbalance, key for keeping stability during quick turns or sudden lunges. Compared to heavier hunters, Allosaurus was far more maneuverable, especially in forests and uneven terrain. Its arms were surprisingly powerful. Unlike later tyrannosaurs, Allosaurus had large, flexible arms ending in 3 curved claws. These claws could grip, slash, or hold prey steady during an attack. Some fossils show deep gouges on dinosaur bones that match their shape. This means Allosaurus didn't rely solely on its jaws. It fought with its entire body, using arms, legs, and teeth together. One of the best proofs that Allosaurus was the leader is how it behaved in groups. Multiple Allosaurus individuals from different ages living in the same bone bed suggests that they may have hunted or eaten together. Scientists think they grouped around dead animals and sometimes worked together to hunt big herbivores. Even though they may not have behaved like wolf packs, they could have taken down huge prey that no single hunter could have if they worked together in open groups. And those prey animals were truly gigantic. The Morrison Formation, Allosaurus's kingdom, was filled with huge herbivores like Diplodocus, Camarasaurus, Brachiosaurus, and Stegosaurus. Allosaurus bite marks have been found on many of their bones, showing the predator wasn't afraid to challenge giants. One Camarasaurus vertebra even has a partially healed Allosaurus attack, meaning it survived the first encounter. Stegosaurus fossils show injuries that match Allosaurus teeth, including bites to the neck and hips. These animals were incredibly dangerous opponents, but Allosaurus evolved to handle the risk. Injuries found on Allosaurus skeletons prove these confrontations were brutal. Many individuals show healed fractures, punctures from Stegosaurus tail spikes, and broken ribs. Despite this, the predators survived for years after sustaining serious wounds, showing resilience and strong immune systems. This hardiness was essential in a world where every hunt carried enormous danger. Allosaurus likely used multiple hunting strategies depending on prey size. For smaller dinosaurs, it probably chased and grabbed them. For large sauropods, it may have targeted the neck, tail, or legs. Any area where repeated slicing blows could weaken the giant enough to bring it down. Some researchers also propose that younger Allosaurus individuals hunted smaller prey while adults tackled larger animals, reducing competition within the species. Toward the end of the Jurassic, climates shifted, vegetation patterns changed, and new animals began to appear. But Allosaurus remained successful for millions of years, outlasting many rivals and dominating its ecosystems until the early Cretaceous reshaped the continents. For its combination of agility, intelligence, slicing weapons, and versatility, Allosaurus stands as one of the most effective apex predators Earth has ever produced. It wasn't the heaviest or the strongest, but it was fast, coordinated, and deadly. A perfect Jurassic hunter long before T-Rex ruled the world. Neovenator, the isle hunter of the early Cretaceous. On a chain of islands that would one day become southern England, a powerful predator stalked forests, swamps, and coastal plains during the early Cretaceous. This was Neovenator, sleek, fast, sharp-toothed, and one of Europe's top carnivores long before tyrannosaurs crossed over from Asia. At around 25 feet long, Neovenator wasn't the biggest predator of its era, but it was one of the smartest and most finely tuned. It blended speed, agility, and sensory awareness in a way that made it perfectly adapted to the complex island ecosystems it ruled. Neovenator lived about 125 million years ago, and its fossils were first discovered on the Isle of Wight, a place so rich in remains that paleontologists often call it the dinosaur capital of Europe. But Neovenator stands out even among this crowded cast. Its skull was long and narrow, filled with serrated teeth shaped for slicing through muscle. But what makes Neovenator especially interesting is the structure of its snout. CT scans revealed a network of small canals, similar to the sensitive facial systems seen in modern crocodiles. These canals house nerves capable of detecting pressure, vibration, and subtle movements. This means Neovenator didn't just bite hard, it felt its environment in remarkable detail. It may have sensed struggling prey with its snout pressed against them, detected water movement while hunting along rivers, or even used this sensitivity to handle carcasses without breaking its teeth. Few theropods show such fine-tuned anatomy, placing Neovenator among the most sensory-aware predators of its time. Its body was built for speed. Neovenator had long legs and a lightweight bird-like skeleton. Hollow bones reduced weight without making the skeleton fragile. Strong thigh muscles gave it quick acceleration, and its stiff, elongated tail helped it maintain balance during fast turns. This agility suggests it hunted medium-sized herbivores, faster animals that required precision and timing, rather than brute force. Trackways found in early Cretaceous sediments show patterns of quick, narrow strides that match Neovenator's proportions. The forelimbs of Neovenator were more functional than those of many later theropods. Its arms ended in 3 sharp claws, perfect for grabbing, slashing, or stabilizing prey. They weren't huge like those of earlier Jurassic carnivores, but they weren't tiny like those of tyrannosaurs either. Neovenator occupied a middle ground, small enough to be fast, big enough to be deadly, and armed enough to dominate its habitat. Neovenator lived alongside many herbivores, including the heavily armoured Polacanthus, the swift Hypsilophodon, and early iguanodonts that browsed the island's forests. It also shared its territory with aquatic predators and small raptor-like dinosaurs, but none matched its size or power. Bite marks on bones from the region offer hints about its diet. Some show deep, straight slices consistent with Neovenator teeth, especially on iguanodont remains. These cuts suggest it fed on muscular areas of prey, using its knife-like teeth to remove large strips of meat efficiently. The arrangement of Neovenator's bones is one of the most fascinating data about its biology. Its bones have growth rings that show that individuals grew quickly as babies and quickly reached adult size. Its fast growth helped it avoid being eaten and get to the top roll quickly. When it was fully grown, it grew less quickly, but its bones got thicker and tougher to handle the stress of hunting and fighting over territory. Evidence of injuries also sheds light on its behaviour. Many Neovenator bones show healed fractures and bite marks from other predators, hinting at combat either with rivals or dangerous prey. One specimen has several healed ribs and injuries along the tail, likely caused by a fall, a fight, or a powerful kick from an herbivore. The fact that it survived these wounds shows how tough and resilient this predator truly was. Island ecosystems tend to create smaller but more specialised predators, and Neovenator fit that pattern perfectly. It wasn't as massive as the giants roaming other continents, but it didn't need to be. Its home was a world of narrow coastlines, dense forests, and fast-moving herds. In such a place, intelligence, sensory precision, and agility mattered more than raw size. Acrocanthosaurus, the humpbacked killer. Long before T-Rex lived, in the early Cretaceous, North America was ruled by a monster that was so big and strong that its body looks like it was designed to be strong. This was Acrocanthosaurus. It was over 40 feet long, very heavy, and had a line of tall neural spines that ran down its neck, back, and hips. With these spines making a high hump, the dinosaur looked different from any other large hunter at the time. The hump wasn't just for looks, though. New studies show that it may have been very important for support, muscle connection, and even keeping the body's temperature stable. Acrocanthosaurus belonged to the Carcharodontosaur family, the same group that produced giants like Giganotosaurus and Mapusaurus. But Acrocanthosaurus was the one that dominated early Cretaceous North America. At the time, the continent was warm, humid, and filled with wetlands, forests, and coastal plains. Herds of huge sauropods like Sauroposeidon and Postosuchus roamed these environments, along with armoured nodosaurs and swift ornithopods. Any predator living among prey this big had to be powerful enough to bring them down. Acrocanthosaurus was built exactly for that job. The back of Acrocanthosaurus is most notable for the raised nerve spines that run along it. CT scans and precise models show that these spines held up huge muscles in the neck and back. These muscles would have kept the dinosaur's body stable during attacks, letting it hold on to food that was fighting without falling over. Some experts say that this muscle system is like the ones in bison or other humpbacked animals that use brute force. Acrocanthosaurus didn't use speed to win fights. Instead, it used crushing strength and body control. Its skull was long and deep, with large openings that housed powerful jaw muscles. The teeth were sharp, serrated, and shaped like the blades of a chef's knife. They weren't built for crushing bone like T-Rex teeth. Instead, they sliced through muscle with devastating cuts. Bite marks matching Acrocanthosaurus teeth have been found on sauropod bones, including deep gouges that show the dinosaur fed on giants. Whether it hunted them directly or scavenged when opportunities arose, its jaws were more than capable of tearing chunks from massive carcasses. Acrocanthosaurus's forelimbs were surprisingly strong. Unlike the tiny arms of tyrannosaurs, its arms were long and muscular, ending in 3 hooked claws. The shoulder bones show enormous muscle attachment sites, suggesting these arms were used actively in hunting. They may have helped grip prey, hold steady during feeding, or stabilize the body during powerful lunges. One of the most complete Acrocanthosaurus skeletons found in Oklahoma revealed incredible detail in the shoulders, confirming that this dinosaur had some of the strongest arms of any large theropod. The legs of Acrocanthosaurus were not built for sprinting like those of lightweight predators. Instead, they were sturdy pillars capable of supporting a heavy body while delivering bursts of speed in short chases. Its long, stiff tail provided crucial balance, acting like a counterweight during turns or when wrestling large prey. This combination allowed Acrocanthosaurus to strike with sudden force, overpowering prey through raw momentum. Footprint evidence from the Glen Rose Formation, possibly left by Acrocanthosaurus or a close relative, suggests that these giant predators may have followed or stalked sauropod herds. Trackways show large carnivores pacing alongside enormous herbivores at close distances. Whether this was hunting behavior, scavenging, or simple territory overlap remains debated. but it shows Acrocanthosaurus regularly interacted with some of the largest animals on Earth. Studies of growth show that Acrocanthosaurus grew very quickly. It only took a little over a decade for it to reach its huge size. Its quick growth helped it stay alive in the wild and become a powerful top hunter. When it was fully grown, its bones got thicker and stronger, which helped its muscles get strong enough for hunting. Mapusaurus, the pack hunter of Patagonia. Giant sauropods used to walk like rocks through the windy badlands of Patagonia. There, a predator evolved that wasn't just fast or strong enough to bite to stay alive. Mapusaurus was a huge carcharodontosaur and one of the few big theropods that has strong proof of coordinated group behavior. Mapusaurus, which was more than 40 feet long, was more than just a big hunter. It was a very big killer that might have done its hunting with others, making it one of the most dangerous animals that have ever lived. Mapusaurus lived around 97 million years ago during the mid-Cretaceous, roaming the same landscapes as Argentinosaurus, the largest dinosaur ever discovered. A full-grown Argentinosaurus could reach over 70 tons, far too big for any single predator to attack. But Mapusaurus didn't have to hunt alone. A famous bone bed in Argentina contains the remains of at least 7 individuals of different ages. This discovery suggests they gathered together in life, not by coincidence. Some paleontologists believe this is strong evidence of pack hunting, or at least group behavior. Even if Mapusaurus didn't hunt with perfect coordination, simply moving in groups would have given it a major advantage. Multiple predators surrounding a herd of sauropods could pressure the adults, isolate juveniles, or take advantage of injured individuals. The presence of young Mapusaurus in the same bone bed suggests that different age groups may have filled different roles. Smaller individuals targeting weak points, while larger adults delivered more powerful bites. The skull of Mapusaurus was long and narrow, with blade-like teeth nearly identical to those of its close relative Giganotosaurus. These teeth were designed to slice rather than crush. Instead of delivering a single devastating bite, Mapusaurus inflicted deep, repeated cuts that caused massive blood loss and muscle damage. This slash and retreat style resembles that of modern big cats like lions, which wear down large prey until it collapses. The teeth of Mapusaurus were laterally compressed, serrated, and slightly curved backward, perfect for anchoring into flesh and pulling back to tear. Its jaws weren't built for bone crunching, but they didn't need to be. Soft tissue was the main target on a sauropod. A deep bite to the leg or flank could cripple a massive herbivore, leaving it vulnerable to additional attacks. With potentially several Mapusaurus working together, even a towering Argentinosaurus could eventually fall. The body of Mapusaurus was powerful, but surprisingly agile for its size. Its long legs allowed it to maintain steady movement, and its tail provided balance during quick turns. Although it wasn't built for fast sprints, it had enough mobility to maneuver around huge prey animals. The limbs were strong but not overly bulky, giving it a blend of endurance and flexibility suited to long confrontations with giant herbivores. One of the most interesting findings from Mapusaurus bones is that the species grew quickly during its juvenile years. Rapid growth allowed young Mapusaurus to reach a size where they could safely join adults in hunting larger prey. This growth strategy is similar to that of some modern predators, where the young grow fast to avoid being vulnerable for long periods. Injuries found on Mapusaurus fossils show healed fractures, bite marks, and stress scars, evidence that their lives were filled with conflict. These injuries could have come from prey or from clashes with other Mapusaurus. Group-living predators often compete with each other for dominance, access to kills, or mating rights. These social tensions would have shaped Mapusaurus behavior as much as hunting did. Around the middle of the Cretaceous, Patagonia was a land of extremes. Seasonal droughts dried up rivers, and rains changed the shape of floodplains. Large groups of sauropods moved around in search of food, and Mapusaurus probably followed them over long distances. Its strong but light skeleton suggests it could walk long distances without getting tired, which would have let it follow herds across the area. Giganotosaurus, the southern rival to tyranny. Before T-Rex took over North America, the southern continents had their own giant. It was bigger, could run faster over short distances, and had cutting teeth instead of jaws that could crush bones. Giganotosaurus was a big, dangerous animal that lived in Argentina about 98 million years ago. It was about 43 feet long. It was one of the biggest land animals that ever lived, with a length that was as long as or longer than the T-Rex. It was built to kill the huge mammals that lived in South America. Giganotosaurus was the king of the South if the world had more than one competing king. Giganotosaurus belonged to the Carcharodontosaurs, a family of carnivores known for their blade-like teeth. Its skull stretched nearly 6 feet long, with serrated teeth shaped like shark blades. These teeth weren't made for crushing bone. They were designed for slicing through soft tissue. A single bite could carve deep wounds into prey, causing heavy blood loss and making long battles more effective than short confrontations. This predator didn't need the single devastating bite of a tyrannosaur. It won through repeated, deep cuts that weakened even the largest animals. Its jaws were powerful, but not as robust as those of T-Rex. Instead of bone-breaking force, Giganotosaurus relied on speed, precision, and neck strength. Studies of its skull structure show it had incredibly strong neck muscles that helped drive its head downward in powerful chopping motions, similar to the hatchet-style strikes used by Allosaurus. Combined with its long teeth, this created a devastating cutting attack. The body of Giganotosaurus was built for size but also for mobility. Its long legs allowed it to take long strides, helping it keep pace with the massive herbivores of the region. Some estimates suggest it could reach speeds of 20 miles per hour. Impressive for such a heavy animal. It couldn't sprint at high speeds for long, but it didn't need to. Its prey, mainly giant titanosaur sauropods, were not built for speed either. Giganotosaurus lived in a landscape filled with giants. Argentinosaurus, Dreadnoughtus, and other titanosaurs weighed upwards of 50 to 70 tons. A predator hunting animals this size did not operate like a lion chasing an antelope. Giganotosaurus's strategy was to attack the legs, neck, or sides of its prey, inflicting repeated cuts until blood loss or exhaustion brought the massive animal down. One Giganotosaurus might not have been enough for this task, but there's strong evidence it didn't hunt alone. The famous Giganotosaurus bone bed contains the remains of several individuals of different ages, suggesting they may have lived or fed together. While it's unclear if they hunted cooperatively in a coordinated way, their presence in the same deposit hints at group behavior, or at least tolerance among individuals. Even loose cooperation would have given Giganotosaurus an advantage. Multiple large predators moving together could isolate juvenile titanosaurs or take down injured adults far more effectively. Giganotosaurus also shows signs of fast growth. Bone studies reveal it reached adult size quickly, allowing young individuals to escape vulnerability and join older predators in hunting large prey sooner. This growth pattern matches that of other Carcharodontosaurs and indicates an active, high-energy metabolism needed to sustain such large hunters. Its arms, though smaller than its legs, were more functional than the tiny arms of T-Rex. Giganotosaurus had 3-fingered hands with claws capable of gripping or holding onto prey during feeding. They weren't primary weapons, but they helped stabilize the animal during attacks. Injuries found on Giganotosaurus fossils tell a story of a violent life. Many show healed fractures, rib damage, and bite marks from other large predators. These injuries suggest intense confrontations, either with giant prey or with rivals. The fact that individuals survive such trauma shows their resilience and the harsh reality of living at the top of the food chain. Giganotosaurus lived during a time when South America was a hotspot for giant animals. Warm climates, rich vegetation, and open floodplains supported enormous herbivores. And where there are giants, there will always be predators big enough to challenge them. Giganotosaurus was exactly that, a hunter scaled to the size of its world. Before T-Rex ever claimed the spotlight, these apex predators were already rewriting the rules of dominance, ruling continents, shaping ecosystems, and proving that the world's greatest hunters didn't need tiny arms or giant skulls to inspire fear. If you enjoyed this journey into the killers that came before the king, hit like, subscribe, and keep watching. Your next prehistoric deep dive is already waiting on your screen, and it's even wilder than what came before.